Welcome to Omaranger004. Please join me on Patreon by Omaranger004. Your small donation helps run the channel. With that out of way, today we're going to be continuing the storyline of Power Rangers Shattered Grid. For those of you who aren't following, let me give you a faster recap. In the Power Ranger storyline and the Boom comic books, we have an alternate reality in which our original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers went on to do many amazing things. Well, in an alternate timeline, Tommy went evil, taking the powers of the Green Ranger and the White Tiger Ranger and combined them to become Draken. He's now going through the entire multiverse looking for something, and he just killed the original Tommy Oliver. In our last video, the Rangers came to a crossroad when Billy found out that Grace had actually captured Lord Racket after he had Tommy returned from her two alternate timeline. Knowing what Dragon is capable of, Saba took it upon himself to destroy Dragon, but he ended up being the one killed when Dragon broke free. Using Saba's power, Dragon was able to teleport between the timelines, and he dealt a fatal blow to his alternate self Tommy, leaving the Rangers in a state of chaos. With Dragon now being able to cross between dimensions once again, he returned to his palace in his own time to begin preparations, but the total control of all of the timelines as he walks through the halls, as centuries tell him that they are static to see his return, and they have been working hard rebuilding their forces for him. Dragon heads to the lab, telling the sentries to inform the generals to wait for him in the gold room. Until then, there are other matters that require my attention. He slams the door and a voice says that news of his return must have echoed throughout the great halls. It is so good to learn that it is true. Dragon looks back to see Finster versus telling him, "Terry friend, how many times do I have to say not to be so formal? Not after all, though. We've been through together." Finster 5 hugs Dragon, telling him that he missed him so much, and Dragon says, "I missed you too, but right now it is time to embark on our great campaign." Finster 5 tells him, "With all due respect, as much as I would love to aid you, there are still obstacles that there are no solutions for." Dragon tells him yes, but this time it's different. He holds up the captured ninja, telling him, "This time I come with the solutions." Meanwhile, the current timeline, days after Tommy's death, everyone gathers to mourn for the loss of Tommy Oliver. Billy works with the courage to give a eulogy, praising Tommy for how he always put his friends first. But they all knew that he had a pain deep down inside, and what Billy couldn't say is how he and the others worked tirelessly to try and bring Tommy back. That night, Zordon told everyone that he is there, heartbroken to tell them that Tommy is indeed gone. Alpha 5 attempted to bring Tommy back with the morphing grid, but it was unsuccessful. As the days leading up to Tommy's funeral begin to pass, there were many struggles. The night that Tommy's mother was informed of what happened the day that Jason was given Tommy's armor, the news spreading throughout the school at the loss of one of their classmates and his Tommy's service ended. Jason tried to speak, but he ended up leaving on his own. After a few moments, Zack followed, and as Jason tries to speak again, he cries, grabbing a hold of Zack. The two console each other until their communicators go off. In Alpha 5 says that she is awake back in the command center. The woman who appeared the night of Tommy's death stands before everyone, and she tells everyone that her name is Jen Scotts. She is the leader of a unit called the Time Force. One day time travel is going to become possible, and that means that it's going to need to be regulated by the Power Rangers. Billy asks what future did she come from. They've had some experience with alternate timelines recently. She says that she was from this world's future, but that might not be the case anymore. Things are a bit broken and their timeline. Her team had detected a nexus level fracture spreading across the multiverse to the different dimension. Their only chance to fight it was to take the time for Zen Megazord inside of that split, using the gravity cannons as stabilizers, but there was a surge and she was forced to escape while her partner West stayed behind to finish the job, and then she followed the energy signature as far back as possible, which was at this point in time. Billy says that he has a question. There was a mention of how things are broken. What exactly does that mean? She taps a button on her wrist, telling him that she Shouldn't be showing them this, but times are dire. A holographic screen opens up displaying the timeline as it should be, but the next image that it shows it splintered and all mixed together. Zack looks at the images asking there are more Rangers out there, and Jen tells him yeah, not get sentimental, they were the greats who influenced hundreds of future Rangers, but now that map has changed the time. Force had a theory, and that was in order to protect itself the Morphin Grid fractured this world and broke each era into its own sort of pocket universe, and in doing so it also put every other universe at risk. Another way to explain it would be to think about all time and space as existing on a plane of glass. If you crack it, the glass holds its form, but as the cracks begin to spread, it gets too big, it will begin to compromise the overall structure until everything falls apart. It is believed that this world, as the initial crack, whatever happens next will lead to the proverbial shatter. The signature that I followed belonged to whomever killed Tommy Oliver. Zack says that his name is Lord Drakon, an older alternate timeline version of Tommy himself. Kim says that if she can travel through time, could they go back and save Tommy, and Jen tells her that's not really how it works. Now that the timeline is broken, that moment is the furthest that she can go back. What happened up until then is now locked in place. As much as she hates to say it, while they're grieving, they're gonna have to work together and stop Drakon. It's too powerful to be left alone. A short while later, Billy finishes with his final adjustments and says that should do it. He begins to get up and Zack asks what exactly, and Trini tells him that before Dragon stole the Chaos Crystal, Billy and her were working with parts of the Black Dragon Zord. While Jen showed her the map of the timelines, it gave him an idea. It goes on stating that the Time Forest technology is tapped into temporal energy, which doesn't really help them now that the timeline is broken. However, with some adjustments and thanks to Black Dragon tech that should change, they may not be able to go back in time, but they might be able to go to different universes. And just then the alert goes off and Jen says that it's Dragon, or at least his energy signature, but it's not coming from this world. Jason asks Alpha 5 if you can get to where it is with the new adjustments, and Alpha 5 says yes, I can teleport you all now. A few seconds later, the Rangers all teleport to the Samurai Rangers universe to see that their Shiba is already under the control of Dragon's forces. Zack Shada, they have to do something with Jason grabs him, telling him wait, he just took down an entire team of Rangers, we need to be smart about this one. Jen checks our scanner, it says that there's someone still out there, and she's right over there. And over in the lake, the Red Samurai Ranger Lauren surfaces when a Dragon's Black Ranger sentries then spot her. The sentry shouts to hit them with a dragon cannon, and then everyone is hit with its blast as the Rangers' powers are being stripped from them. Billy uses the Morph EMP, but it doesn't strip the sentries of it their powers. Trini, because they ask who are they in. Jason yells, oh, there's no time, we got to get back, while all the Rangers all return to their current time period. Back at Dragon's Castle, Visitor 5 finishes setting up the summarizer, stating that this will not be a pleasant process. Dragon tells him that he understands when it'll be worth it. Activate when ready. Finster flips a switch and the energy begins to flow through Dragon, lighting up the room. As it fades, he looks, it is newer and improved armor, telling him I can feel the strength. Finster 5 tells him it's remarkable, the process worked better than anyone could have imagined. Dragon that asks what about the other Samurai's heirs, and Finster 5 tells him it won't be necessary thanks to Ninja, or all we need is one more fur from each set of Rangers. Putting any more than that will become unstable, but it doesn't mean that we can't use them to form a century army. After all, we have so much to conquer elsewhere. In the castle, a group of Dragon's sentries gather, and one says that the prisoner that they have is a real tough one. He didn't say a word. The other tells him of course he's the leader of the Coinless, and then another voice calls out that they just need someone who knows what they're doing. The Red Ranger sentries pass the group, telling them that they are dismissed. Leave this one to us. As a sentry walks in the Coinless, Zack asks one no more minions, bringing out the big guns. Sentry tells him that there's going to be some listening. The sentry takes off his helmet in skunk from Bulk, and Skull tells him you're going to realize that It was Old Skull here risking his cover back at the current-day command center. Lauren explained that those forces just marched up into the Sheba house, and before they knew it they had taken down their defenses. Jason asks two dragons say anything while he was there, and Lauren tells him that he just said he was going to destroy them all. They had these weapons that warped their powers somehow. It was pain that she had never felt before. But where are her friends? Trini says that they're not sure, probably imprisoned would be her guess. Billy says that their Morphers, or Samara's heirs as they were calling them, have probably been deconstructed. It's possible that they might start seeing samurai centuries added to Dragon's army. A few moments later, Jen walks into the room telling everyone that they're going to need to follow her. There's something that they need to see, and as everyone gathers, Jason asks what's going on, and Jason says Dragon's forces aren't invading everywhere. The timeline map then begins to change to mostly Dragon's symbol, and Jason yells, "We have to send everyone." Warning. Billy says that it's possible using Jen's transportal tech patched through the teleportation system. They should hopefully be able to transmit a signal across the grid. After Alpha 5 makes the needed adjustments, order and calls out to all of those that can hear him. His name is Zordon Avaltar, and he has come from across the grid with a warning. A great threat is upon board. Rakan and his armies are growing. They have found a way to target Rangers, and with their Black Dragon cannons they can disrupt any ones connected to the morphing grid. Lord Dragon plans to conquer and steal them Warfurs to add to his army. This is a time of great uncertainty. We must stand together and if possible aid each other. As the transmission ends, Kim asks if they think that anyone heard it, and just then a message comes through asking if anyone can hear her. Jen calls out that this is Time Forest Ranger Jen Scotts. Who is she speaking to? The woman on the screen says that her name is Dr. K. She is the creator and curator of the Ranger Operator program based in the city of Corinth. Their city has been under attack for the past 8 hours, and her Rangers have been able to mostly hold the line. Jen asks if they have a means to deal with the dragon cannons, and Dr. K says, "Oh yeah, those pesky things." Ranger Operator Centuries Green brought her one back. With a little tinkering they've been able to counteract it, however it is a case-by-case basis, and then the transmission is lost. Jason shouts to Alpha 5 to try and get the connection back, and then another transmission comes through showing an image of coinless Zack. He says that their base is gone, but they think that they have a way to beat him. If you're hearing this, rendezvous on the attached coordinates. Kim asks if they should do it, and Jason tells everyone all right, here's the plan. Billy's a Catron. He will head to the cornice at the coinless left in Dragon's World. Jen and Kim will try to locate more signatures like they did with Lauren and I will go to Corinth and make contact with Dr. K. That way we can work on all three things at the same time while the Rangers head out back in Dragon's Castle. Dragon sits at the command post looking at the red Z and eyes are crystal. From way all this began. Finster 5 that asks, relishing in our recent success, I could take it off your hands if you'd like, unless it's something you wish to hang on to. Draken stares at her for a moment and then says no, not particularly. Added to the others that we're going to use after. Fenster 5 takes the crystal. He pauses and says, if you wouldn't mind me asking, your time with the Zeo Rangers was considerable. Was everything alright? Dragon waits and says, I was just taking the opportunity to try and gain more insight on her enemies. Visitor 5 asks, with the experience and lightning and dragon, you'll know they to hold their Tommy on a pedestal for whatever reason. Finster 5 and says perhaps it is because of love, and Dragon tells him there is nothing to love about him. It doesn't make any sense. Just then one of the Yellow Ranger Centuries runs in with word from the front as a team of Rangers of the Black Dragon cannon isn't working on that appears of this drive K that he tried to recruit made a breakthrough track, and it gets up from his throne stating it doesn't matter, I will bring the reinforcements to Corinth myself right after the next power transfer. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the ruins of the juice box, Zack, Trini and Billy teleport in on Dragon's World, and as they look around, Trini asks if is the right place. Billy picks up the old sign stating that this is the coordinates that matched the data, and a voice calls out to them telling them that this is the right place, but when everyone looks back they see Coinless Zach and his team. Coinless Zach then says that Dragon kept this place standing like it was some sort of trophy. Coinless Trini runs up hugging Billy stating that he's okay, and Zach then asks where is everyone else. Coinless Zach then says that this is all that's left after their Billy and Tommy left. The war kept on. Scored Pina led the charge and they were nearly wiped out. Coinless Trini then says then they managed to get out thanks to Skull. Without him they have no chance. Skull steps forward stating that he's been working undercover in Dragon's army for years. He's been able to see the inner workings of the throne room, and now they had Ninja. Your Ninja trainee asks who's that, and the Coinless Zach tells her that they haven't met Ninja yet, but Ninja is the one that created the power coins. Dragon has him under his spell and is somehow forcing him to help. If they save Ninja they can beat Dragon over on the Corinth front drive. K's Rangers fight back against Dragon's forces and everyone stops when they suddenly hear through woohoo. Dragon's forces look up and they see the giant Tyrannosaurus sword and growling. The Black Ranger sentries turn to fire and Jason whips his tail, forcing all of the forces to retreat as Jason and Lauren jump down drive. K's Red Ranger looks at them stating that that was pretty wild, but who are you? Jason says that there's no time for proper introductions, they need to see drive. K and then from one of the ditches drive. K pops substage me, that would be her. Jason tells us that they're gonna need to bring her back to their dimension so they can start, but the Black Ranger says that that might be a problem. Look, it would seem that no one's going anywhere because across the desert Dragon himself lead the next assault here to claim drive. K, check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more videos about your favorite comics, movies are coming soon. Join me on Patreon by Omaranger004. Your small donation helps run the channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.